Good afternoon, Saints. Today's lesson are for those of you that feel like you've been abandoned by religion, or you feel that you're less than, that Christ can't reach you and that he wants nothing to do with you. And those of you that have experienced over religious people that have told you that you're not welcome here because of your social status, economical status, or because of what you have on is less than what they think that you should have on. You stay tuned because this lesson is for you. Good evening, Saints. Pastor Jay Roy here again, and today's lesson is a biblical account that we've heard maybe hundreds of times. I know I have, but the Lord has given me a new insight and applied this to my personal life, and it helped me through some real hard times, some struggles, and maybe it'll help you also. We're gonna read out of the book of Mark, chapter 8, verse 22. And the word of the Lord reads, "Then Jesus came to Bethsaida, and they brought a blind man to him and begged him to touch him. So Jesus took the blind man by the hand and led him out of the town. And when he had spit on his eyes and put his hands on the man, Jesus asked him if he saw anything. And he looked up and said, 'I see men like trees walking.' Then Jesus put his hands on his eyes again and made him look up. And he was restored and saw everything clearly. Then Jesus sent him away to his house, saying, 'Neither go into the town, nor tell anyone in the town.'" Today's lesson is entitled, "The Touch of Faith." And if I had a subtitle, I would name it, "Touch Me Again, Lord." The touch of faith. This man that was brought to Jesus wasn't brought to him with lack of faith. These people that brought this man to Jesus, rather, they knew something that this blind man either didn't know or didn't believe. But in any case, the end result is still the same. Even if you don't believe that the Lord is able, or if you didn't even know that the Lord can do, it still doesn't matter because he still believes in you, whether you believe in him or not. You won't hear this a lot from religious people. I don't happen to be one of them. You won't hear this a lot from theologians and all these other people that don't believe that the Lord can have compassion and mercy on whomever he desires and whoever he wishes, even though it clearly states it in the word. However, this man, for whatever the situation, whatever the circumstance, was brought to Jesus by others, which is one of the reasons why it's very important to be surrounded by people that have some kind of faith. It's very important not to be surrounded by people that don't have any type of capacity or ability to believe God for who he is. I'm going to stick a quarter in the meter and let you just chew on that for a second. But it's very important to not surround ourselves with people that cannot believe an all-living, all-powerful God. But this man, whatever his belief system, whatever his religion, whatever his background, whatever he did or did not do for the Lord, this man was brought to Christ by others. And they begged Jesus to touch him. The man didn't even whisper a word. Yet, when the belief of others connected him to the Lord, Jesus didn't say, "Oh, you didn't pay your tithes this month, so I'm not doing anything for you." Jesus didn't say, "Oh, you don't have the right clothes on, or you don't say the right lingo, or yeah, man, I noticed that you had a drink the other day, or yeah, I see you smoking your little blunts and doing a little stuff that you've been doing all week, and all of a sudden you want something from me." Jesus never said that. Jesus would never say that. If you've ever felt rejected in the church, or if you ever felt like people were looking down upon you, understand that it wasn't Christ. It was people. That's a whole nother lesson. But so Jesus, looking at this blind man that was brought to him by people, by other people, interceding for this man, begging on this man's behalf. Oh, I thank God for grandma that got on her knees when I was out there gang banging and doing all that other stuff. I thank God for my mama that fell on her face every time the police showed up and put me in handcuffs and took me off somewhere where I couldn't get back home. I thank God for those people that interceded for me, for those people that I didn't even know who they were, that were on their face, begging the Lord to help me. Begging the Lord to grab me by the hand and lead me somewhere and bring me sight because I was blinded. If you just bear with me, I'm getting somewhere, I promise. So, verse 23 says that Jesus took the blind man by the hand and led him out of the town. He led him out of the town. I'm sure Jesus could have did something for him right then, but that environment was already saturated. The man was comfortable with being blind where he was at. So the Lord had to grab him by the hand and move him out of his place of comfort. The Lord had to move the man out of his place of comfort, but the Lord didn't grab him by the back of his shirt and put him. The Lord reached his hand out. Isn't that like a loving God? Isn't that like a God of kindness and gentleness? Isn't that the God of love? To have compassion on someone that doesn't deserve it. Somebody just like me.
Amen.
The difference between grace and mercy. They're twins. Grace gives you everything that you don't deserve. And mercy doesn't give you what you do deserve. The Lord had compassion. The Lord had mercy. And the Lord extended his grace. I like how the definition of grace in the Hebrew, the definition means to lean or bend in the direction of one who is knowingly inferior. This man knew that he was inferior. This man knew that he had nothing to do with the living God. This man knew that he was trifling. He knew he was low down. All to the fact that he, is being in a bad and a desperate state, didn't even reach out and beg the Lord for himself. You ever felt that way? You ever felt that you've done so much and that you've been so far and that you've strayed away and you went so beyond the Spirit of God that now that you know that you need him, it's just hard to cry out?
Yes.
You ever felt that God don't want nothing to do with me? You ever felt that, man? And then you know what the funny thing is, that other people will justify and validate that and reinforce it and make you feel like God don't want to hear nothing from you. Because they want to be the one that gives you aid, the one that gives you comfort so that you can bless them. But not this man. This man actually had people that cared about him enough to intercede for him, enough to bring him to the Lord, to get him to a place that he can be delivered. But Jesus didn't do it on the spot. Jesus pulled the man out of this place. He got him out of his comfort zone and took him to a place where he could be touched. We're talking today about the touch of faith. The touch of faith. And so, here, after he had brought the man out of town and Jesus had spit on his eyes and put his hands on him. Jesus spit on his eyes and put his hand on him and asked him if he saw anything. And the man said, I see men as trees walking. It's a terrible thing when you get touched by the Lord and then all you can see is man as being powerful as a tree. Man didn't bring that comfort. Man didn't bring that authority. Man didn't bring your deliverance. But man will try to trick you into thinking that you need him and you're so dependent and codependent on him that you can't reach God without him. So what God did was he took the man away from the people. He took the man away from the people that brought him to the Lord, and he to get them out of there so they can't say, yeah, see, we're the ones that...
All right.
Everything that glitters ain't gold. Everything that looks like help is not help. We're going to get back to that, though. So the man looked up. Jesus asked him, can he see anything? This man was totally blind, and he said, can you see anything? And the man said, I see men as trees walking around. Trees are big. Trees are powerful. How do you see man? Do you see man big? Do you see him powerful? Do you see him as bigger than God? Or is God the total reason for everything that you have and have avoided in your life? God is the reason why we have. God is the reason why we don't have some things that we should have. We always talk about how life ain't fair, but you know what? I thank God life is not fair, because if I got half the things that I deserved, Jesus, help me, Lord. So the man said, I see men as trees walking